Welcome to AME 2-Second Lean Tours. I'm Richard Evans, and I'm going to be your facilitator today, along with Laura from AME head office. We've got an exciting show for you today. We're going to visit one of the original 2-Second Lean companies from St. Louis. And today we've got a special guest that's standing in for our friend Paul Akers, who unfortunately is traveling and doesn't have good internet access like myself. And we're going to be hosted today by our good friend Alex Ramirez from Valorec. So Alex, over to you.
Oh, Alex. Thank you, guys. So today I have the honor to try to fill in Paul's shoes and to be here in this tour. Obviously, it's very hard. The only thing I have in common with Paul is the no hair. So bear with me. And this is very exciting company to be in, because you have to know that they were the one that really pushed me over the edge to go into my lean journey. What you're about to see is nothing but amazing. And you'll see what really means empowerment and engagement of people. They totally get it. So I give it to you, Tony. Tony is the ambassador, manufacturing ambassador, and you'll understand why after you listen to him. Go ahead, Tony.
Thanks so much to AME, Paul Akers, our main man, Alex with Valorec, and of course, Richard Evans, as without him, this just doesn't work. Today, you're going to be experiencing some of our 2-second lean improvements, other process improvements, and some amazing culture that you got used to seeing pre-pandemic and then maybe spotty during the pandemic. But we are back. We are open. We encourage every question, every comment, anything that you see that you think could help us. And at Cambridge, we obviously continue to help leaders in manufacturing and warehousing create healthy work environments for hardworking people. So without further ado, this is all about our folks and our operations team and the people that make our company go round and round. I'm going to turn it over to Bruce Kisslinger Jr., who has been with us for some time. Thanks, Bruce.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cambridge. Excited that you're here virtually with us. So I'm going to share a little bit about our lean journey. I've been here for 20 plus years, and it's funny how, you go through fits and stops and starts with lean, but one of the places where we started out was going on YPO trips with our owner, John Kramer. And we used to go on these trips and get all excited, and we would bring these ideas back to our company, and we would hand them out. We would share with them what we're going on, what we're doing, and they would gently hand them back to us. So we started doing that. And then we also started reading the Toyota way, and our employees just kept we'd hand them leader standard work. We'd hand them an A3, and they didn't understand what we were talking about. We were all excited, and they would just hand them all back to us. So it wasn't until John made the recommendation that said, hey, I got something that's going to change your life. John Kramer said this. I got something that's going to change your life. You guys can go out to Bellingham, go visit a facility, and don't come back unless you have something good. And three of us went out there, and we're like, yeah, it's going to change our life, right? So we actually went to Paul's facility. I think we broke all the rules, because I think you're supposed to have the owner of the company with you, and we didn't have that. But we got there, and Paul just took us in, shared with us what was going on with this culture. And one of the first stops that we landed on in this tour of like 7 stations was the bathroom. So Wes and I looked at each other, and he said to me, this is really going to change my life. I said, oh, it's going to. So I said, why don't you go clean the toilets and I'll clean the mirrors. So we both grabbed our little totes, and in the totes, they had instructions on how to do what you were going to do. So he went to clean the restrooms. I cleaned the mirrors. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not bad. This is pretty simple. There's instructions here with you. And so he had a couple ideas with the instructions that are in the tote. So one of the group leaders there, Wes, said, hey, it'd be cool if you change this, this, and this. And they said, oh, yeah, no problem. So we moved on to some other sections, and we wound up in their laser jam area. And it was the same way. We started looking, they were sharing what was going on. And we're like, oh, this is pretty simple. The employees are engaged. They're fixing what bugs them. All these simple processes. So Wes is like, I got a couple ideas here too. So we made it through the system, went through the morning meeting, which was just amazing, spot on, employee led. We, by the end of our trip, we were there all day. They said, hey, Wes, we made an improvement in the bathroom based on what you suggested. We also made an improvement to our laser jam area, also something that you suggested. It was just like, to us, it was like, wow, eye-opening. They're listening. They're getting people in from the outside and actually listening, making improvements to their areas. So that was pretty slick. So we all got on the airplane. We all had our books. We were super jazzed up. We started reading the books, and we got back to Cambridge, and we said, all right, company, we are going to start cleaning the restrooms ASAP. And they all looked at us like we were crazy. So the cool advice Cambridge gave us was say, hey, focus on your area. Focus what you can affect. So we just started making small improvements, started cleaning the bathrooms. Our president at the time, our CEO at the time, started joining us in the restrooms, and it showed us that, you know, being a humble leader throughout our whole entire organization, they're willing to do that. We're willing to make improvements. We're willing to fix what bugs us. And we just started making this basically this vortex where everybody started joining us. And by the end of, I think, year one or year two, we were up to 2,000 something improvements. So our current state is we run a morning meeting. That's about 15 minutes a day, where it's leader led. Whoever wants to lead the meeting can share any, if they want to share their family, they want to share what's going on at work. It doesn't really matter, but there's a nice agenda and a structure where you can plug anybody into it. They can lead. You'll also see our safety, quality, and our delivery, our sales revenue. And that's our number rhythm that we've been doing. Even through COVID, we still set the meeting up and did it all virtually, which is pretty sweet. After that, we roll right into lean and clean, which is about 30 minutes a day, both shifts. And employees are encouraged to make improvements to their area. Just fix what bugs them. Even if it's moving a trash can from point A to point B, or working on some of their leader standard work, or working on kata, Kaizen events, any of that stuff is pretty amazing. So that's where we're at now. We just hired 40 plus employees, and we've taken them through the 2-second lean program, and it's really moved us into the next world, and we're able to sustain something, which in the past, like I said, the employees handed it right back to us, and lean is actually, 2-second lean is actually stuck. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to hand it over to
Bruce, if I may, Bruce.
Yes.
So, I mean, Bruce is, you got to know, he's the director of manufacturing. He's a hands-on guy out there.
Right.
The level of humbleness of not only himself, but Bruce, you can testify to this. I see every single manager, CEO, owner out on the shop floor. You were telling me yesterday, they're out there cleaning the restrooms. They're doing the morning meeting. They participate in both shifts, and they're one single team. That level is incredible. Could you testify that is true?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole being humble leadership, serving others, being willing to stand right next to an employee in the bathroom and clean the toilets is just something that you don't get to see every single day. And actually, some of the top leaders, they actually take joy in cleaning our restrooms, which is pretty awesome. So
wow.
It happens every single day.
That is inspiring. That's why you guys inspired us. Okay.
Thank you, Alex. We're going to hand it over to Jonathan.
So my name is Jonathan Solter. I'm an engineering technician here at Cambridge. I've been here for a little over 5 years, and I'm going to walk you guys through one of our improvements that we've been working on. So this in front of me is one of our large units, and this is the cart we moved those on.
I'm going to help in Q&A.
And it's all full welded, so we can't repair anything easily on these, and they've gotten difficult to move. This is another size unit, and you'll see another size cart. Again, all welded. You can see it's kind of bent and damaged, but it's hard to repair. And then our smallest unit, we've got another welded cart that is, again, a different size. And this one sticks out wider than the unit. So this one would be difficult to get close to when an operator was working on the unit. And so what we did to try to fix some of these issues is we actually designed our own cart, which I'll show you that over here. So we designed our own cart that is now built. We made this completely in-house. Everything is bolted together and it's collapsible. So you can see that side's collapsed. This side is still up. So we can replace any part that gets damaged or worn out at any time. And you'll see here on the large unit again, we've actually made it to where when it's collapsed, we have these rails that go on there, and that allows us to use the big unit on the same cart. And then you'll see this is our medium-sized unit. And again, you'll see the cart is there and it extends out so that it fits just the right size of the unit. So now the medium-sized units are on the same cart. And then we have our smallest unit, and you'll see that with the extensions pulled in, it now still fits the unit. And we now have one cart that is collapsible that works for all three sizes of our units versus before we had three that we couldn't repair. They took up a lot of space. They were difficult to maintain. and they're not very easy to move. So here's an example. This is an old cart and a new cart. So the old cart doesn't move very well. The new cart can be moved with one hand. So it's a lot easier to move these around.
So Jonathan, you don't need any more forklifts. Before you used to move them how, with forklifts, with transpallets? How did you do that?
So before, we used to have to build the units on another table, and then they would use a fork truck to pick that up and put them on the right size carts. Now with these universal carts, they're able to actually put the skid on them and build them at the proper work height for them. And so instead of us having to use a forklift to put them on and off the carts, the only time a fork truck touches these units is when it's ready for shipping. So we've eliminated all the fork truck traffic in the production area where we work on these units.
Fantastic. I mean, that is a lot of elimination of waste. So who comes up with these ideas, and how do you go about to do them? You just say, I want to do it and I weld my cart, or you farm it out?
So we did all this in-house. And what we did is during the 30 minutes of lean and clean time that they gave us, we would talk about these carts. We would draw up sketches. We would collaborate with other departments. So in this case, the project required help from sheet metal. It required some assembly work. So we had people from different lines helping build these carts. And then right now, anybody in the building can build one of these carts. So when we have to produce more or replace these or maintain them, we can get the parts in-house. We don't have to buy them from anywhere else. We make them in-house, and then we can go ahead and fix the carts or build new ones as needed with whatever resources are available here without having to outsource anything.
That what you just said is you take control of your own destiny by having it done inside. And if you want to improve it, you can continue the journey of improving. It's never done, is it?
No, we're always improving. The rails that we added for the big unit actually happened just a couple months ago. So that was another stage of improvement. So we've got it down to a universal cart, and we've got a couple ideas on how to improve them even further to make them easier to move and better for work heights as well.
Incredible mindset. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And Tony, while you walk to the other station, you want to tell us about you take videos of all these improvements and how you share them with the rest of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. We've got over 5,000 videos in our library now and on our YouTube channel. And most of the videos take place whenever the employee wants them to. We've got iPads and iPhones spread throughout the plant for their use. It takes them right to the YouTube and they upload them. And then the next morning or the mornings after, depending, we tend to have a lot of videos, so we spread them out. But our morning meeting is when we share those process improvements with the rest of the company and any of our visitors that are online that morning. So we get them in, we get them produced, we get them out, and then they live in our library for the lean community to share and hopefully be able to use for their own narrative. But yeah,
that is a question that you always get on these kind of tours: is how do you facilitate, the iPads, the phones, and all this? And you guys totally understood that there's a tool that you need for them to share. And even you were saying yesterday how it's prepared. So whenever they get the tablet, you just push a button in it and they can start recording. That is just fantastic.
Yeah, the strength of our team here and their creativity is truly unmatchable, and we're very proud of them. And while we're sitting here and I see that Smegan is ready to go, if it's okay, we can toss it over to Smegan and see what great things she's done.
Good morning, Megan.
Good morning. I am Smegan. I work all over the place here at Cambridge, but I'm specifically on S Final. One of the things that we do here is we build these cans. They are called RCS cans, remote control station. Basically, it's the housing for where a thermostat lives, so you can control the temperature of each unit. So this is actually the second RCS station. I was given this RCS station to build and kind of piece together. Anytime we need to fill in the gaps when our first RCS station kind of falls behind a production, or if someone's out sick or whatever, we have to just like fill in some gaps, this is where we do that. So I started working on this station probably about 3 months ago. Wow. And I've just kind of tried to pull some ideas from the original RCS station, but then, you know, I hit some bumps. So I came up with some other ideas. One of the first ideas was this drawer where I keep my tools. That was something that I implemented on the first RCS station, and it worked. So we have some ties and foam. We cut them out in the shape of our tools, and it gives us a nice clean space to store all of our tools and easy access while we're working. For this, I had some help from our engineering technicians. So Jonathan, who you just saw, is one of our engineering technicians, and Melissa here is one of our other engineering technicians. So I got Jonathan to help me order the pullouts for the drawer for the slides, and then Melissa helped design the tray itself. And then I had a little bit of help from Jonathan putting it, like actually installing it on the station. And then he came up with this handle, which has actually been really helpful and has been an improvement from the first drawer that we created on the RCS station. One of the bumps that I hit in the process of putting the station together was this station came with shelves, but those shelves were really hard to recreate because they had a lot of weld points. It just, like, when I asked them, you know, hey, can you guys help me build some more shelves or find another way? They said, you know, it's really complicated. It would take a lot of time and a lot of resources. So I came up with a new idea that I actually had gotten from a different station. And it's these bracket shelves. So I have every single one of our totes has a little lip here, and I designed these shelves so our totes just hook right on. And immediately after I came up with this idea, I saw some flaws. One thing we say here at Cambridge is the first idea is the worst idea. So I noticed that it's kind of wiggly. It's not very sturdy. Makes you a little nervous. I don't think the totes are going anywhere, but I would like to put a piece, like some kind of like piece of metal or brace or something in between here to just kind of make it a little bit more sturdy so we don't have all this wiggling. So that's kind of one of my next steps in this project. And then one of my future projects is, we have this packing foam here, and as it is right now, we just kind of pull it out like this. And it looks like it works great now. But actually when the foam roll is full, it doesn't really fit in there. When you pull it out, it gets stuck on the table, and it's just really a pain. So we also have, it's on a pole that is between this part of the station and that part of the station, and that pole sometimes falls off. So that kind of creates a safety hazard. So my solution to this problem is I have some turntables, and I am working on getting a piece of wood. I think it's about 36 inches. And then it'll have a post in the middle of it, and it'll be just like a really oversized paper towel dispenser. And it'll stand vertically under this table. It will fit. I've done the measurements. So that's a future project that I would like to work on, just to kind of help clean this area up and make it function a little bit more smoothly.
So Megan, that is fantastic. And I want to point out three things. One, you heard she said that she was told to go ahead and develop this cell. Did they ever tell you this is how you need to do it, or they leave you liberty to do the cell however you want?
So at the time, I was actually working and helping out with RCS because we had some other things. So we really needed to have two stations running, and they kind of, we had a station that was really small. It was on wheels. It could move around, which was nice. But we didn't have enough of the parts that we needed. So they kind of just like gave me this station, and then they were like, you know, make it a fully functioning station and do it, you know, however it makes you feel comfortable. You know,
and I admire really the level of engagement with the other colleagues you have. You're telling us how you are involving others to help you, and that is fantastic. That's a great mindset.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh,
that is really cool.
Yep, thank you. And next, I'm going to pass it over to Connor Lalone. He is going to tell you about our wire station.
All right, Carl.
Hey, Alex, on our way over to see Connor, I think what you're going to notice is, and all the lean enthusiasts and all of the Paul Akers raving fans remember Justin's chair. Someone besides Justin is actually sitting on it right now, but we'll have an update to this in the spring, but that does exist, and other people have used that same idea, and we are excited to show more improvements to that awesome employee genius. So now we'll turn it on over to Connor.
Hello, Connor.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Connor Lalone, and I'm the safety coordinator here at Cambridge Air Solutions. Today, I'm going to show you our wire rack improvement that we made a number of years ago. Before I get into what we've got going, I want to describe a little bit about how it was originally. We had these blue bins that were on the long metal shelves, and they were all tilted down forwards like this in this kind of orientation, which made putting wires into these bins a little easier to put them in. But then when we went to pull one wire out of these bins, all of the wires would come out all at one time. And so we ended up with a lot of things on the floor. The other thing that was difficult about this orientation is that while I'm looking at the bin, this label on the front here is difficult to read and to know what wire goes in there. And so there's no important information on there now, but you can kind of imagine that this orientation is difficult to take a look at. So the other thing that was difficult about these bins is that we didn't have enough of them to fill this and have another bin somewhere else ready to get filled to have a Kanban system. So those struggles that we had all drove us to create an improvement on how we store and handle our wires in our production area here. So this is our new wire rack. This is wire rack 5.0. This is our current state with metal framing, metal brackets, fully painted, and it's on wheels. It's got everything that we need to do production nowadays. So I'm going to kind of go through some of the ideas that came up with. Originally, believe it or not, we made this out of wood. We wanted to go with the first idea is the worst idea. We wanted to prototype it. So that was something we did in-house on our own, was we just made it out of wood. We got it up on its feet, put it on some wheels, and started messing around with PVC tubing, so PVC piping. So if I look here, this is a piece of PVC pipe with a coupling glued onto the end to make it wider, and then a cap shoved in the bottom. And so this is also product that we had in-house. Some of it was junk, some of it we had to purchase. But what happens is now this tube takes the place of that bin. It's in this orientation now so that I can grab one wire and pull one wire out while gravity holds the rest of them in. And then this tube is much easier to Kanban. It takes up much less space. There's a similar tube of this configuration for this wire in another location that can get filled. And now our material handlers or our production workers can just take a new tube and put it right back in the same spot that it came from. On the wire rack, go ahead.
Just amazing. The fact that you are using the tools that you had at your disposal and people that can help you to build it, right? I understand people like in shipping and receiving would have some tools. You guys cut it up and did it your own.
Yeah, we were given the time and the resources to do it as much as possible on our own. There was some engineering help, and of course they were happy enough to oblige. These metal pieces here in the middle needed some cutting and forming. But what's the other thing that's nice about this was that they're modular. They can all be put together. I can put 10 more on here if I needed to. And then all of these pieces have been used in other areas where we handle wires. For example, our Kanban carts have these on them, and our other wire stations will have these as well. So that idea of handling the wires with these tubes has spread. You can see also over here on the side that we've started to add some others off to the side as well. Some of our less frequently used wires, so they're not in the main drag here, but they are available for us to use. Another thing that we had an issue with is over here in the station, we have these metal sub panels that we have to use and other metal components that we didn't have storage of very close to where we work. And so we wanted to put them all on this same cart here. So now all of our metal parts and components that we need are very close for us to use. And so if I turn around, I show you while I'm working here at this station, everything is within arm's reach, and it's all in one fluid motion. before this rack with those bins on it was so wide and so far away that I actually had to take steps to get there. And now I can keep my feet in one spot, reduce that motion. The other thing that's really neat about this rack with it being on wheels is that I'm right-handed, so I may have a propensity to grab the wires with my right hand. If someone were left-handed, they could move this wire into the other configuration over into another to their left side and have that available for them for their process.
Connor, you being a safety professional, what do you think when you have everyone doing these kind of ergonomic improvements, their workstation, they don't have to reach, they quickly they can change those pieces of pipe with the items in it, you know, things not falling in the floor. What is your opinion?
For me personally, it's a little nerve-wracking. It's a little difficult because you got a lot of people making a lot of changes, right? And you have no control over it. But what's really important to realize is that people are learning along the way. People are doing what they know is best for them. They are the subject matter experts in their areas. So giving them the tools and resources that they need to make those changes on their own actually ends up being pretty freeing. I don't have to worry about all that stuff. I don't have to think about that. I give them what they need, and the company gives them the time and resources that they need to do that on their own. It's super cool. We always say fix what bugs us. We're starting to talk more about eliminate what hurts us. And so getting rid of those ergonomic hazards, those reaches, those strains, those awkward positions is really cool.
I love that. Eliminate what hurts us. Awesome response. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So,
Tony, we go to the next one.
yeah, so next we're gonna pass it on over to Matthew. Matthew is also on the next is the other camera with Annie, and take it away, Matthew.
All right, I've got some improvements here from our sheet metal department. This part here is this is an old version. We used to batch cut and weld and paint these, and so the channel is welded to a base here, and these would repeatedly get held up in the welding area because the guys hated to do it because they would batch weld and set up a jig to get it all made. So our punch operator came up with this design that doesn't require welding, and it has the feet integrated into the channel. Wow. And then when you form it, you get that. And so this does not have any welding anymore, therefore we don't need to powder coat it. So the old throughput time used to be 2.5 days for the old design. The new design is only 2.5 hours to get these through the shop.
Oh,
so that's a big change for that part.
It's about 40 hours faster, right, Matt? I mean, look at the level that when the operator, right, came up with the idea of of eliminating all the welding and the powder coating and how much waste that was, Matt.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
It's another part here that we do batch, or we actually used to batch, because it has this special electrical knockout that is formed by the punch. And we were getting some, I mean, number one, we had to batch it because of that kind of special tool. Number two is it caused some defects. The operator would need to measure the sheet thickness every time and then make an adjustment to the depths that the tool would hit. And if they didn't do it or did it incorrectly, that would either not go deep enough and you could not remove it, or it would go too deep and fall out before assembly. So the same operator started thinking about this idea: how could we make a knockout that was cut on the laser? And so we have this here. It's held in by 2 tabs, and you can just twist and pull that out when needed, or leave it in if you don't need the hole. And so we no longer have to batch this part because we don't use that special punch tool anymore. And this concept was taken into a different part as well. When they had a periodic need for a hole that they would drill, they now have this knockout that they can use.
Matt, you're awesome. The level of detail that they understand, there's an internal customer that they can facilitate, make their life easier, the product better. They're really developing the product changes on the shop. That is amazing.
Yep. Then we have this last one here. We have some skeletons here. So there's 2 sheets for this one program. And our punch operator asked me if it was possible to get the same number of parts onto one sheet. So wow. I tried it and they do fit. We had to use a cutting process called common line cutting. As you can see, the skeleton remaining for the 1 sheet program. And so we reduced our sheet.
Wow, that is amazing. How much sheet do you save? It looks like half of it, huh?
We kind of have looked more at just the overall savings of the sheet usage, where we're going from 2 sheets to the program down to 1.
Wow.
And so I haven't really looked at the numbers on the actual scrap factor, but you're only loading 1 sheet each time. The machine's running longer, less change out time. And then the cost savings for the material has been a big change for us too.
And all it took is to run an experiment, right? And
yep, the idea, and then just try it out.
Fantastic, Matt.
All right, I think we're going to send it back over to Tony to wrap it up.
That is a typical great example of the empowerment the people on the shop floor have at this company. They can propose and do and run the experiment. That is, I'm blown away.
Alex, it's something that we sometimes take for granted and try not to, but living in a state of being courageously uncomfortable. We've talked about it offline, but our employees, when we talk about improvements and we talk about giving them that ability to make changes as they wish, that's a real thing. But we do have to remember that sometimes when it's getting up for a morning meeting or actually talking about that improvement is a whole other opportunity that we also need to discuss, with our staff. So being courageously uncomfortable here is a state of mind. It's somewhere that we live, and folks seem to enjoy it. And with talking about that, we have our Unleashers program, which is a new hiring program. It's a 13-week program that they learn, they read, they study Paul Akers' 2-second lean book. And we really set our folks up for success, and it's at their own pace, which we love to do. Noticing that we're short on time, I definitely want to give our panel of folks here an opportunity to answer some questions. Once again, I want to thank everybody at AME and Paul Akers for always believing in us and pushing us to be better and always raising that bar. But let's go ahead and turn this over to Bruce and some of the folks that you got to meet on our tour earlier today.
Do we have some questions there?
Oh, okay, Laura, can you ask the questions for us, please?
Yeah, of course. We have quite a few questions, so we may have to record some of them after, or maybe put out a video if that's okay. We could just include it with. Hold on, let me get to it.
I'll throw the first one. It says enriching lives in your logo. What does that mean to you, Bruce?
So enriching lives means whenever, if our employees are at work or our employees are out in their community, that they're always, any person that we reach out to or touch, we're pouring into their lives or they're pouring into our lives. That's what it means to me.
And then Bruce, you have a question. How did you go about training the new employees for 2-second lean?
Oh, that's a good one. So right now we've done a couple regroup programs, but we just did one recently where we broke the sections out into 1-hour sections and we did 5 of them. I actually led the one-piece flow one, and we just meet with them on a regular cadence. They read the book like Tony was saying, and then we met offline with them as groups. And I actually used the envelope experiment to show the one-piece flow. So we use Paul's book and we couple it together with some other stuff, and then we do hands-on activities. Same thing with making videos and everything else that we do.
Very cool. How many people participate in your morning meetings?
Well, we've set a goal throughout our company. We want, if you're in the facility, we want 100% participation. So whenever we went virtual during our COVID period, so we had people working from home and we had people here. But if you're in our facility, we want you out in our area. If you're working from home or remote, we want you to join it remotely. So the goal is 100%.
Awesome. How does 2-second lean thinking culture help you when working on bigger projects and getting them completed?
Let me pass it on to Connor.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. How does a 2-second lean thinking culture help you when working on bigger projects and getting them completed?
It allows us to go into experiments and stuff that we have no idea how they're going to turn out or no idea where to get started. with a really risk-free feeling. We are able to communicate and collaborate with other people and know that we've got support. We've got each other's backs. I'm not going to have the best idea, so I'm able to reach out. I'm able to talk to other folks, and we're all able to help each other out. Not having to go through red tape and go up to engineering and go up to administration and ask questions and go through a rigorous process really allows us to feel risk-free and feel free to use our creativity.
So Laura, Matthew at Cambridge also responded to that question, and his response as well, which is complementary to Connor's, is 2-second lean is about simple and quick fixes. On the larger projects, Cambridge uses boards like Monday.com and Scrum methodology to break the larger projects into smaller bites. So essentially, it's how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's how you manage the bigger projects. Next one, Laura.
Somebody asked, how do you get the money to buy those turntables?
Ah.
I can answer that. So we have a budget, obviously, but turntables are like $30, $40. So we empower the employees. Unless it's a large capital project, we encourage them to go see their supervisor. They don't have to go through any kind of process to buy turntables. So we're pretty lenient when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Richard, I think that pretty much wraps up the questions that were in the chat. Lots of compliments for you guys. Megan, you were called the ninja of finding improvements.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. We're going to send you the chat file, team, Cambridge team, because there's so many positive comments. Everybody who's watching wants to come and work at Cambridge. So Tony and Bruce and Smegan and Connor and Jonathan and Matthew and everybody else, Annie, who's holding the camera, and the team at Cambridge, on behalf of obviously Paul, and Paul did jump in for a little bit. So he did get internet access at a restaurant or somewhere. On behalf of AME and Alex, we just want to thank you so much for sharing. What you do is incredible. And, you know, you're just a pinnacle within the 2-second lean community. We can obviously see why people would like to come and work at Cambridge. And it's definitely a family. And that's the key. So remember what we talked about yesterday, Bruce, that the CEO is at the bottom and supporting everyone else, right? The value adders who pay your wages are at the top, and there's the one you got to support, which you do every single day. So I'm just going to share my screen. We've got a little bit before we leave, and let's have a look what we've got. I want to get some feedback from everybody if I could. Okay, I got to start the poll.
All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Here's the poll coming. Can anybody see the poll? We got 4 questions.
Yes, Richard, I see it.
We see it. Yeah.
Okay, it's coming up. All right, people are voting now. Number 1, would you recommend an event like this to your network? Number 2, have you been inspired to implement or continue with 2-second lean? Number 3, did you find today's tour valuable? Oh, and this is great. Number 4, how many people are viewing this tour at your location? Wow, that's a great question that we've added on.
Keeping you on your toes there, Richard.
Fantastic, Paul.
Okay, looks like it's really going now. Let's just give it a few seconds. We're up to nearly 50% voting. Once we get to about 80%, I'll close off the poll. We get some good data. So while this is going, Cambridge, again, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. not only the 2-second lean community, but also for all of the AME people and the rest of the world that are watching where this might be their first tour. There is a link in the chat for the rest of the videos, the rest of the recordings that we've done on the 2-second lean series. So if you haven't seen any yet, I recommend you go and watch those. They're absolutely inspiring, and you'll actually see some really, really cool stuff that you can R&D, rob and duplicate. Okay, we're at around 73%. I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to share the results with everyone. And the results are incredible as always. So virtually 100% found the tour valuable. 100%, well, one person might have said no, that they didn't find, they weren't inspired today. So I'm not sure whether we're watching. How many are viewing this tour? We've got 16% that 11 to 50, and we've got 1% 50 to 100, which is an incredible, absolutely incredible thing. Oh, very good. Well done, everybody. All right, we're going to get into our next item. Our next tour is in 2 weeks' time. We're actually going to visit Hugh. I'm not sure if Hugh is online, but we're going to visit Hugh at Greater Ozarks Realty. This is going to be a really inspiring tour as well, because Hugh is going to do a virtual morning meeting with us, with his teams around United States, which is absolutely great. So December 15th, I penciled in 8 a.m. We don't have it nailed down to the exact time yet, but when it comes up on the website, then you'll know the exact time. So pencil in the 15th of December for the next tour. Just a quick mention for our AME Lean Sensei. Go to ame.org, type in Lean Sensei in search, and you'll be able to download an Excel version of this fantastic benchmarking tool. It shows how good you really are. You can see where the gaps are within your organization on your journey to operational excellence, and it's free. So it's phenomenal. Just a reminder that we are all absolutely volunteers. We've got a few paid people, but they're gold people anyway, so we give them some money. But most of us are volunteers. We'd love you to support us. We like to do stuff like this, which is share, learn, and grow. So if you can share something with us, a little monetary contribution, that would be great. And again, thank you everybody for watching.